Hey, it's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the three films of March 10th, 2006. On today's show, we've got a romantic comedy starring Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker. We have a remake of a classic Disney movie with Tim Allen starring in it, and we have a remake of a classic Wes Craven movie. We'll take a look at all three of these movies, but before we get to any of them, let's get to the biggest new release of the weekend, and that was Matthew McConaughey and Sarah Jessica Parker in the romantic comedy Failure to Launch. Yeah, the movie's illusion is already kind of ruined when you expect us to believe that Matthew McConaughey is a mama's boy who lives with his parents. Matthew McConaughey. If you don't buy into that right away, then the movie has no hope of surviving. And so unfortunately, you can't buy into it right away. So as the trailer shows you, Matthew McConaughey plays a 35-year-old man who lives with his parents who shows no interest in leaving the comfortable life that he has, especially with his mother, played by Kathy Bates, having it made for him. Of course, things change when they hire Sarah Jessica Parker to be somebody to get him out of the house and hopefully out of their lives for good. And hilarity and hijinks ensue. Kind of. I don't think it is because, yeah, this is not a very good movie. Despite a stacked cast, I mean, Matthew McConaughey, Sarah Jessica Parker, good lord, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Bates. You have Zoe Deschanel, Justin Bertha, Bradley Cooper, Terry Bradshaw. I mean, there is a stacked cast in this movie that could make this material work, but yeah, the premise is just too hard to believe with a guy like Matthew McConaughey. If it was anybody else besides Matthew McConaughey, who's a handsome-looking dude, like, it's hard to buy it. And for this movie, we have to buy into it because it can't just be a normal guy, like a normal actor in general. Like, it can't be it can't be any of the people like Justin Bertha or Casey Affleck or somebody like that, somebody around that. Even Jason Biggs would have worked better. But no, it's got to be somebody like Matthew McConaughey, who was at one point named the sexiest man alive by People magazine. I mean, like, logistics of this movie went out the room really quickly, and yeah, if you're still convinced that this movie might have some life to it yet, there's a scene where Terry Bradshaw gets naked. You don't see his genitals and all that, but yeah, and like I said, maybe this could have worked if the people who were in these characters' roles would work better, but it was suitable for the role instead of somebody like Matthew McConaughey, or the comedy was funny, but none of that really works in this movie. I don't remember laughing once during this entire movie. Like, this is a bad movie, man. This is a really, really terrible movie. A movie that is not fun, not enjoyable by any means necessary. I mean, How to Lose Your Guy in 10 Days was at least trying, and it worked sort of because of the chemistry between McConaughey and Hudson, but even then, it wasn't enough for me to say it's a great movie overall. A movie I really didn't even like that much, but I at least saw more value in that than I do in something like this. I don't buy the chemistry between McConaughey and Parker whatsoever. I just don't buy this movie as a whole. It's not funny. It's not clever. It's not anything, man. It's just not a good movie. Not a good movie in my opinion. But so moving on to the next movie, a movie that you would think would also be bad, but this is another one of those movies that kind of surprises you in ways you could have never imagined. This is Tim Allen in the remake of The Shaggy Dog. I mean, okay, again, I know what you're thinking. I mean, that trailer just sums up mid-2000s family movie. This is like The Pacifier all over again. But like The Pacifier, this movie surprises the hell out of you at how kind of enjoyably silly it is. I mean, it's a movie that pretty much tells you right out of the gate that, yeah, it's a stupid movie. It makes no sense whatsoever. But goddamn it, we got a stacked cast in this movie who is going to be game for this. And yeah, they make this work. They really do make this work. And this is, of course, based off the original Shaggy Dog movies from Disney, where the original film had a character that was transformed into an old English sheepdog after pulling on a magic ring. Where this time around, it's Tim Allen as this lawyer who is transformed into a collie after getting bitten by a dog. So they do change it up a little bit. Hobie for the Loan's another example, too, of a movie that seemed like it was bad from the get-go, but then you watch it again, it's just like, this isn't as bad as I remember. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's kind of good. Which is what I could say to this movie, too. This is a very stupid movie, but it knows it's a very stupid movie and wants you to go along for the ride. And, I mean, the stacked cast in here is pretty impressive. You know, not just Tim Allen, Robert Downey Jr., who I think really does steal the show in this movie. Like he has to out crazy Tim Allen when he has those animal instincts inside of him, and that's just, it leads to a lot of good hilarious moments in here. You have Jane Curtin in there, you see as the judge. Danny Glover is in here too. Spencer Breslin, Philip Baker Hall, Kristen Davis, Laura Keitlinger. A lot of really, really good talent in this movie. And goddamn, they're making it work. They're making it in an entertaining, enjoyable, fun ride overall. I mean, if you don't I mean, that scene, there are scenes in that trailer that are obviously bad. Like the scene where, like that scene in the car with all the animals who are suddenly barking. Like, yeah, it's stupid how they set it up in the movie. It's a really bad concept in the movie, but they know it's stupid and they know they're having a ball with it. And you either just go along for the ride or you just can't take it. And when I saw it for the first time, I was just like, okay, I'll go along for the ride. And yeah, you can have a really good time watching how silly and ridiculous this movie is, because this movie does get really silly and really ridiculous almost immediately. And at certain points, you have to just look at this and go, okay, should I go along for the ride here or should I just turn it off? I went along for the ride, and I'm glad I did, because, yeah, it's a stupid movie, but a good, fun, stupid movie. This is one of the most enjoyably, over-the-top, ridiculous movies I've ever seen in my life, and yet I loved every single moment of it. I love how stupid it is. I love how silly it is. Like, yeah, it's not a good movie, and it's not going to be for everyone, but for me, I dug the hell out of it. I enjoyed this movie so much. I mean, it's goofy fun. And there's nothing wrong with a good, goofy, fun movie. And this is a goofy, fun movie. I mean, the Shaggy Dog movies have always been goofy fun. I mean, there's ones where the dog is literally punching humans with his fist, like a bot is like that. Like, if you're looking for something so deep and serious with this, like if you're looking for like the Disney equivalent to an American Werewolf in London, which I don't know why you would, yeah, go take a hike somewhere else. If you know exactly what you're going into with this, you can enjoy this movie and go along for the ride. And I certainly did that as well. But, yeah, I like this movie a lot. I thought it was fun. I thought it was silly. I thought it was stupid. But it's a good, fun time overall. I really enjoyed it. So. The Shaggy Dog. So let's go ahead and take a look at our last movie. Another remake, this time of a much darker movie. One of Wes Craven's earlier films. And that is Alexander Aja's remake of The Hills Have Eyes. This was Alexander Aja's follow-up to High Tension from a year before, and in this it's essentially, like I said, a remake of the original Wes Craven movie, where it follows a family that's targeted by a group of cannibalistic mutants after their car breaks down in the desert. And I can't really say anything about these movies because I've never seen the original, I've never seen these versions in general here, but from what I've heard, most people do like this remake. It's not as good as the original film, but it does take new opportunities with the original. Unlike the original, it does take new opportunities with what they have to work with here compared to the original film in general. But that's just from people that I've heard talk about it. I think they are. I think there is a lot to admire from the style of the film. Even if you've never seen these movies, you can look at the grisly style of this movie. That does make you go back to something like the 1970s horror movies, or even more recently stuff like Wolf Creek and High Tension, like I said, and even The Devil's Rejects, which you can see a lot of influence in that. But other than that, though, like, I don't really know about this movie in general. I've never seen these movies in general, so I don't know if they're any good or not. But the first movie got enough of a strong following that they did make a sequel a year later, which, kind of like the original Hills Have Eyes sequel, was not as successful as that film, but we'll eventually delve into that one when we get to next year's films. But right now, not too much more I can say about For the Hills Have Eyes. And so, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we'll take a look at 4 more movies, including the Wachowski brothers produced V for Vendetta with Natalie Portman and Hugo Weaving, Amanda Bynes starring in She's the Man with a pre-step-up Channing Tatum in it, Vin Diesel taking on a more dramatic role in his career with Find Me Guilty, and Jason Reitman's debut film, Thank You for Smoking. So we'll take a look at all 4 of those movies all on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button so you get updates on when new videos come out, because we post here every day. With all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.